This is World History, Day 7, 7b. Also from the Babylonians, in addition to banking and the term to Babel, we get some of the days of our 7-day week. And as you can see, they thought the sun was a planet at the time and the moon as well. But Sunday and Monday, it is thought were named after, and Saturday were named from these planets. They're false gods that they had. And then the Saxon gods were also taken from the Babylonian gods, it is thought, these idols. All right, so Babylon had extremely famous, it was one of the wonders of the ancient world, hanging gardens. So they would have gardens on these different levels of their ziggurat and palatial buildings. And the more lavish your garden, the more wealth and power that you had. So this was, again, a wonder in the ancient world. And every time I see a building like this, I'm reminded of the Tower of Babel. People trying to reach up to God in their own ingenuity instead of trusting God to reveal himself to us as he has done. Note number 3 to write down is that the Babylonians advanced science and astronomy. And in some of this, they were helped along by Hebrew captives who had learned about these developments from God. The 4th note is that during the Babylonian Empire too, 597 BC, Nebuchadnezzar II invaded Jerusalem. And the 5th note is that Nebuchadnezzar II conquered northern Israel and destroyed Jerusalem. The Hebrews were forced to leave between 597 and 586 BC. They remained in exile for around 70 years. And some of this was prophesied by different prophets that were sent to Israel. And what they were taught and what we learn in the Old Testament is if they would repent and turn back to God and turn away from idols and kings who did evil things, that they would have been spared from being captured in this way. But they did not repent, and they did spend time in exile to learn to rely on the Lord again. Through this, hopefully, the knowledge of the true God was spread to some of the Babylonian people. And certainly, God did signs and wonders when the exiles were there. You think about people like Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and some of these kings seeing from this that God is the true God. One of the kings saw writing on the wall. God was trying to reach out to these kings as well in Mesopotamia. Very sad when Israel was exiled. Now, note number 6 is that when Persia overtook Babylon too as the #1 power, and so that's kind of Persia's the last power of Mesopotamia. King Cyrus allows some captured Hebrews to return to Judea in 539 before Christ, 539 BC. And these people, we then have the Hebrews are being called Jews. The history of the return is recorded. You can look at that in the books of, I have my Bible right here, in the Old Testament, in the books of Ezra and Nehemiah. So that's pretty awesome to be able to learn history from our textbook and also from the history book that is our Bible, our very accurate and strong Old Testament. And note number 7 to write down, this is looking ahead a bit, but the Jewish remnant rebuilt Jerusalem, and they did live there until the diaspora, which was the forced expulsion of Jews from Palestine by the Romans in the hundreds AD, early hundreds AD. And starting at 70 AD, the temple was destroyed, actually. Now, anytime that I go too quickly on the lectures, please rewind, pause so that you can get all the notes written down. This is kind of for you to tweak the pace as you have the lecture in front of you to do that. And make sure you date each day's notes as we write them. So if you haven't yet written the date today, write the date on today's notes.